What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with my The Horror Show at Extreme Rules recap and review. I gave my predictions yesterday before the show. Show happened, and here I am doing my recap and review. It's going to be hot, so I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, social media down there. So it came and went. There was some good wrestling, but a lot of just nonsense and more questions than answers, and basically just kind of getting us to tune into the shows. So Raw is going on right now, but I'm doing this, and then I'm going to jump in and watch some Raw, and then I'll write my notes for the week in review. Sorry for the glare in my glasses because I'm doing this at night. So we get a kickoff. New Day are there. Bring out Devon, starts talking about tables. They're getting really weird as usual. We had MVP and Lashley. Apparently MVP spent the money to make the new belt. This wasn't issued by the WWE, so that's a little interesting. Lashley says he's been MIA since he got introduced to the Hurt Business. We'll talk more about that. We had one match that apparently was made literally a few hours before the show started. Owens versus Murphy. Murphy goes for a V-trigger right away, then Owens goes for a stunner. This is actually a really good match between the two. There wasn't a lot needed for this, even though there is obviously the feud going on with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and that whole thing. Trying to fix my mic. There was DDT by Owens, but they were both down. Owens hits a cannonball for a 2 count. Superplex attempt by Owens, countered with a meteor from the top by Murphy for a 2 count. And then there was a really great sequence here. Owens goes for the pop-up powerbomb, countered to a V-trigger, and then by Murphy, he does a Kamigoye, then a brainbuster, all for a 2 count. Just a really cool sequence by Murphy and Owens for selling. Owens has a face plant off the top on Murphy, does a kind of his springboard moonsault, and only gets a 2 count, kind of like what Lacey Evans does. Eventually, Owens hits a super kick into a stunner for the win. So we'll see tonight, if that has anything to do, continuing the feud. We then go to the main show. So we get the SmackDown Tag Team title match. It was a tables match between the New Day and Cesaro and Nakamura. This I thought was just awesome match. I really enjoyed it. I think that this was one of the few that had a definitive finale to it, a nice finish, a wild finish. Big E with a spear through the ropes on Cesaro. Kofi shot over the ropes, but Nakamura and Cesaro just flip a table into his face. It didn't break, but it was pretty inventive, just kind of funny. Nakamura sets up the table on the outside. Kofi with the trust fall from the top of the turnbuckle to the outside, which is pretty wild. Then the New Day set up the double tables, one stacking on top of the other. Cesaro hits a swing on Big E, and then Nakamura with the sliding knee, that combo, which is really cool. I like it a lot. Kofi comes back in, taking out both on the outside. Kofi goes for a Rana on Cesaro that he's going to go through both tables, but Cesaro is able to hold on to him, catch him. Nakamura kicks him in the back of the head, and then Cesaro powerbombs him through both tables for the win. We have new tag team champions. My predictions were a little messed up because of the fact that some of these matches didn't even happen, and obviously I didn't know about this Owens-Murphy match, so this doesn't even count. But I assumed Owens would win. So going with predictions for some of these matches. So I thought Cesaro and Nakamura were going to win. I wanted them to win just because I felt it was time. Even though I love the New Day, I just felt it was time to kind of switch it up. So there was 4 points of confidence on that, so I got that. Cesaro shoves it in Cole's face, goes up to the commentary desk, puts the belt down in front of him, which I think is really funny. What I thought was a little interesting, which I don't know if this is anything or it's just me being a little, reading into things. So you see Big E on the outside. He looks completely deflated and upset, but he hasn't moved. He hasn't gotten up. He hasn't helped Kofi, and Kofi's on the other side of the ring on the outside through the tables, hasn't even moved. And it doesn't look like Big E's running to his side. So I don't know if he was maybe frustrated or it was just that he was tired and hurt. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to see there be any dissension in the New Day, especially without Xavier Woods there. But anyway, so we get right before the SmackDown Women's Title match, we get Bliss, Nikki, Asuka, and Kairi all outside, right outside the entrance. Alexa's given like an inspirational speech and inspirational quotes to Nikki, and then they're Asuka and Kyrie are like trying to hype them up, and then Kyrie right before Nikki goes out, total buzzkill. We'll still be friends even if you lose. That just was the last thing Nikki needed to hear right before she went out. But we get Bayley versus Nikki for the SmackDown Women's title. Nikki with some new red gear, which is pretty cool. Neckbreaker by Nikki for a 2 count. We get a tornado DDT on the outside by Nikki. Does a crossbody for a 2 count. Does another crossbody for another 2 count. Bayley to the outside. Nikki with the splash off the apron. Nikki's thrown into the plexiglass, but it was really cool camera angle because they've been doing that a lot now, setting it up where the camera's on the other side, so it just sees them coming at it. I like that. Superplex by Bayley for a 2 count. Bayley does a drive-by, but through the when she does that drop kick through the corner, but she gets caught and spun into the post, which I thought was cool. We get a Scorpion Death Drop by Nikki, but they're both down. Ripcord like kind of pulled down by Nikki for a 2 count. Does 2 side suplexes for a 2 count. Nikki gets crotched on the ropes. Running knee by Bayley while she's on the rope for a 2 count. Nikki hits the twisting neck breaker off the apron. But then Sasha gives Bayley her ring, like her boss or boss time, whatever, kind of like brass knuckle type things, but distracts the ref. So with the belt, which we'll see again. So Bayley gets a punch to the gut and then hits the Rose Plant for the win. So this was a really good match. Yeah, it was a wonky finish, but I did have. I wanted Bayley to win, but I knew. I wanted Nikki to win, but I knew that Bayley was going to win. But I only had 2 points of confidence on that. So we then get a quick Firefly Funhouse, kind of like a haunted house theme. Bray's dressed up as like Dracula. He says he's gonna show the most horrifying footage you've ever seen, and then we cut to the karaoke contest. And he's like, "Silly rabbit, I know what you're doing. That's the wrong footage." So obviously they heard us. They knew that this was terrible. We then get what we thought was going to be the U.S. title match. Apollo apparently didn't pass pre-match physical for an injury sustained last month from Lashley. I'm assuming that he tested positive for COVID. I get it with the way that they, they don't want to talk about. They want to talk about it as little as possible. I know obviously they've been, kind of doing as much testing right now as possible. But even though they've already way behind the ball, we know there's been a lot of positive tests in WWE, both talent and backstage people. I'm assuming, we haven't heard either way, but I think Apollo was, because he hasn't been on for like a month now. Or at least 3 weeks, maybe more. And I haven't watched yet, so I don't know if he'll be on tonight. So they're out to the ring. They say due to forfeit, he's the new U.S. champ, even though, and the whole time you're waiting for someone, either Apollo's music to hit or someone else's music to hit, Cedric, Ricochet, somebody. Nothing. It was just really weird. We then get the eye for an eye match, Ray versus Seth. Seth has pliers in his jacket. Ray out from behind to get him. I love Ray's gear. It kind of has the Extreme Rules color theme. We get a head scissors that post Seth. Let's see here. We get a Seth with the kendo stick. We get Seth, apparently he's trying to use rebar. He misses with that. Seth goes to push Ray into the corner of the steps again. Seth slides Ray out of the ring onto the table. Seth sets the chair up on top of Ray. Ray gets up and uses the chair on him. Seth tries to stab him with a pen from the commentary desk. Ray hits a drop toe hold on Seth into the commentary table. There was a lot of eye spots in here, which I thought was really good. They really sold it in that sense. The finish, on the other hand, whatever. So we get Ray with a kendo stick, which was rough. He hit him straight in the face. He's kind of in the electric chair position on top of Seth, and he goes down on him, just nails him in the face, and then hits the power bomb into the barricade. Another flip power bomb into the barricade by Ray. Ray uses part of the kendo stick in Seth's eyes. After he breaks it, tries to 6-1 and then hits a 619. Ray with the stomp on the outside. Ray then takes the eye patch off his mask, and it shows that he has like the white contact. I guess they're trying to say that his eye is still damaged from the first time that he got pushed into the steps. As he's trying to push Seth hits a mule kick to the balls. Ray super kicked into the barricade then. That looked rough. Seth hits a stomp, and then Ray pushed into the steps, and apparently the eye is out of his head. Even though you see because they went live, this should have been at least part of it should have been this part should have been cinematic. We heard rumors of CGI, absolutely lame. Because all we ended up seeing was it looked like he had a golf ball in his hand. It just made no sense. And then Seth throws up, which I thought was funny. Dominic's out there, they take him to the back, and then we find out later on, even though it happened later on, I'll talk about it now, we find out from Charlie that, as long as the optic nerve wasn't damaged, and whatever, they can save the eye. So basically it was for nothing. They're just going to pop it right back in, and he's going to be fine. So I don't know if this is going to be to write him off for a while, or if he's officially done. We talked about him not being under contract anymore. I don't know. Backstage interview with Bayley. Bayley makes a joke about Ray not seeing double vision, that she does have 2 belts, and then brings in Banks. So we get the Raw Women's title. This was a fantastic match with a completely convoluted, overbooked, nonsensical finish. Oh my God. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go straight to the finish because this match was really great. You should just watch it. All of a sudden, Sasha hits a Shining Wizard. There were a couple of German suplexes where Sasha just landed straight on her head. It was just really rough. Sasha goes to the middle turnbuckle, then sells a knee injury. Then Bayley and Kyrie start to fight on the outside. There's a huge sequence of pinning attempts by the two of them, which I thought was really cool. Then Bayley throws the title into the ring, and apparently our referee is so stupid that he not only goes, "What is this? What is this?" and then can't use his periphery vision. But while this is going on, Bayley tries to get in the ring, then fights off with Kyrie. Then Asuka goes to miss Sasha, and then miss. What are you doing? My assistant over there is on the bed. She's staring me down. So the ref gets missed in the face, and then goes down, and it looks like Bayley's trying to get the ref up because while this is going on, there's a Asuka's has the Asuka lock on Sasha, who's tapping. You go right on the card. No respect. She's right on. Laid on something that I needed. So then instead of trying to wake up the ref or try to get another ref in the ring, she just puts on the referee's shirt herself, and then hits Asuka with the bell, and then counts to 1, 2, 3. There's no bell, there's no music, there's no nothing. But apparently, Bayley just takes the belt, runs off with it. Asuka doesn't even seem like she's that angry. She doesn't run after them. She doesn't go crazy. I don't know if she's just in shock. We get this is where an authority figure would be good, or something. Just, I don't know. It just made no sense. But obviously, they're just getting you to turn into Raw. Let's see what happens. So then we get a great match between Drew and Dolph. So we've been waiting to find out what this stipulation is. He's been keeping us at bay. He goes, it's going to be an Extreme Rules match. So at first you're like, really? After all that, it's just going to be Extreme Rules? Add Extreme Rules? Whatever. But he says, for Dolph only. Which I thought, okay, that's interesting. And then not only that, if there's a count out or a disqualification by Drew, he can also lose the title. So Drew is taking out Dolph, just suplexing him. Dolph goes for a chair, but Drew blocks it. Huge chops by Drew. Drew sent into the post, then the plexiglass. Drew suplexes Dolph on the outside, but he's about to do it on the table, then realizes it in midair, keeps him up, and then just drops him on the outside because he knows he doesn't want to get disqualified. Dolph hits a famouser from the desk to the floor, and then Drew just barely beats the count. Drew posted multiple times, and then does a clothesline by Drew. Dolph with a slingshot into the Dolph is slingshotted into the plexiglass. Then we get a reverse Alabama slam. We get a Claymore attempt, but Dolph hits him in the knee with a chair. Does a zigzag for a 2 count. We get a super kick on the outside by Dolph. Dolph hits an elbow drop from the top to the outside through a table. Drew, this is actually where Drew just barely almost looked like he almost slipped and almost missed the count getting into the ring. Then we get a Glasgow Kiss, then a Famouser, a Zigzag, a Rock Bottom on a chair, all for a 2 count. It was a great sequence. Dolph was selling his ass off. And then as Dolph is tuning up the band, Drew hits a kip up, and then a Claymore for the win. It was just awesome. It was perfect timing, looked beautiful. It just sucks because Dolph looked great, but at the same time, it makes him once again look like a loser. He basically stacked the deck as much as you possibly can for himself, and he still lost. So it's like, what else is this guy going to do at this point? It just makes no sense. We then get the final swamp fight. So real quick, I had Bayley winning, but only 2 confidence points. Asuka, Sasha, I don't even count that because it doesn't count, So that one, I had 5 points on that. On Apollo, I had 6 points in Apollo winning. That match didn't even happen. Seth, I had winning, even though I wanted Ray to win. Only 1 confidence point there. And then finally, so we get our swamp fight. So this was just very odd also. Braun shows up in the truck. Bray's in the rocking chair to start. He says, I'm home. Then Bray disappears, because it goes dark, but I don't know how it could go dark if you're outside and there's a moon. Braun destroys the rocking chair. He's fighting all of these drones, that are sent out, but just enhancement talent basically that Bray picked up. And then we get a cut to Firehouse. Bray is cheerleading. Then all of a sudden, Braun sees himself and gets hit in the head with a shovel by himself. He wakes up. He's chained to a chair. Bray comes in with the lantern. You can't hurt me because I'm already dead. Your 15 minutes are up. Who will love you? I am not your enemy. This is a lot of talking. This was just a little too much. Bray wasn't in control of his own body. He's not going back to it. Braun says they'll never go back to him. Then you get some woman, assuming that's Sister Abigail, brings in the snake, bites him. He wakes up, and he's by a fire, fights off more drones, throws one guy into the fire. He gets on fire, and then we have Sister Abigail shows up, telling him to come with me, and it turns out the image he sees is Alexa Bliss, and then we see flashbacks of the mixed match challenge and all the little kind of missed moments between the two of them. Bray pops out, gets chokeslammed into the boat by Braun. The motor starts and the boat gets taken away. Braun walks up the dock. The boat comes back, but it's empty. And then Bray shows up, hits him with the paddle, tries to drown him. Braun shoots up from the water, fights on the dock. Bray then gets kicked into the water. We see the end credits. And we're like, oh, okay, this is a little odd, but it's over, okay. But it doesn't stop. We still see Braun looking at the water. Bray comes out of nowhere with the bendable claw, pulls him in the water. Bray then comes up to breathe. The water starts to turn red. And then the Fiend rises, laughs, let me in, fade to black. So yeah, there was no match there either. So, there's a lot of just fuck finishes and nonsense, and just basically tune into this week's shows. I understand that because of the fact that, there was, the, what do you call it? There's no, the ratings are such shit. There was no Intercontinental match. There was no Sheamus and Hardy, Show and Orton, no Raw Tag Team title match. So, alright. Anyway, as far as my match of the night, I'm going with Drew and Dolph. I mean, that ending was awesome. Even though Dolph looks like a loser, I really enjoyed it. He sold the shit out of that. Drew looked like $1 million. So yeah, that was my match. That was the horror show at Extreme Rules. Hope you enjoyed my review. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. I'm going to pound a Red Bull and then start watching Raw, even though it's late. So as always, stay safe, love each other, stay cool because it is hot out here, and bye now.